Welcome to your feature presentation, the podcast where we bring you the latest and greatest movies in pop culture. Today is all about the new Elden Ring movie that's been announced, Dangerous Animals, and Thunderbolts has been pulled from theaters. So here we go.
Arise, ye tarnished. Elden Ring follows the journey of the tarnished, exiles summoned to the lands between to collect the shattered pieces of the powerful Elden Ring. The ring's destruction has thrown the world into chaos, and the tarnished must undergo several boss fights and uncover the secrets to restore the Elden Ring and become the new Elden Lord.
Dude. So this is a new movie that's just been announced. They're thinking 2027 for its release date, but that has not. I always take that with a grain of salt because, like, it's not in front of cameras. That's not including, but it's like it's in the works. We've both played this game, and I know you're a huge fan of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you tell people just like what psychs you up about it? Why is it so good?
Man, there's no game like Elden Ring. From Software has created an entire subgenre, I would dare say genre, of video game. And they're called Souls-like games. Even EA in making the Jedi Survivor game, Jedi Fallen Order games, those are Souls-like games, just in the combat style. So what From Software has done culturally in the gaming community is massive. No one can deny that. But Elden Ring specifically just follows through with the, like, we are defining game culture, follows through that expectation that they've set for so many years with such deep, rich, beautiful lore and amazing characters, incredible bosses. I think it took me 140 hours to beat that game, and I missed some stuff. Like, I didn't do everything that I could have done. So not only is it difficult, it is engaging. It's one of the best, like, stories that I've ever, like, went on an excursion through in a video game. And some of the best design for characters, and in-world, like, lore building is just really, really great. Have you beaten it?
No.
You
I know. So it is hard. My tap out was I bought it for the PlayStation 4, but then it came with the PlayStation 5 version because I was about to get my PS5. I got the PS5, and then that old account, like, was lost. Basically, it was corrupted, and like me online with PSN could not get it back. So I was like, I bought the game already. I should have the PS5 version, but didn't. So I kind of just stopped there. I would say I'm a gamer, but I'm not that intensive a gamer. I'm not good at video games. Yeah. So I beat Bloodborne. That's no. Sorry. Dark Souls 1 is the only Souls game I've beaten. Okay. But okay, so it's just for a quick non-video game fans out there. So the studio FromSoft has made Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. And then, like, you're right, there's a lot of games that are like these Souls games, like Fallen Order. Like, the way it's a sub-genre, but it's almost like they've created their own genre, really. Like, just like this, you lose your experience every time you die unless you spend levels and things like that. Great video game. I believe, did it win Game of the Year?
Oh, it had to.
I believe so. Could you look that up real quick?
Yeah, I bet money on it.
But it's an amazing game. Super fun. So they're making this into a movie. Now, Souls games are kind of notorious because they don't have a main story, but there's so much lore that it's like a full-on Lord of the Rings or, like, Star Wars universe where there's so much going on. The kind of interesting part is the gameplay is it's the only focus in the Souls games, but then all of, like, your weapons, all of, like, your quests, like, you could read all this deep lore. So George R.R. Martin, yeah, each weapon. And George R.R. Martin actually wrote all of the like the backstory and like this lore for Elden Ring, which cracks me up because he talks about how he doesn't even remember it. He's literally, which it's funny because he's quoted saying how much he plays Elden Ring, and people are like, "Hey, you wrote all this lore." He's like, "I guess I did. That was like,
Yeah.
I can't even remember what he said. It was like years and years ago." And he's just,
Yeah, he wrote the lore, he wrote the stuff for it, like, I want to say close to 10 years before it was released. Like,
Yeah.
it was a long time ago. And so by the time it actually came out, because the game was in development for a long time. So by the time it actually came out, he's like, I don't remember.
which is so George R.R. Martin. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's just doing his own thing, which is also awesome. Okay, so let's get into the movie. This is going to be, I think, such an ambitious movie. It is a Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. It's a high budget, full world built thing because it's in this alternate, it's not in real life, it's in like this other, what am I trying to say? Other world, other reality.
Yeah, it's a complete fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
Middle Earth doesn't actually exist.
Oh, hey, don't say that. So it is just going to be such a huge undertaking, but for those of you who are like a little nervous when you say, oh, they're making that movie, listen to who's behind it. This is the most exciting part. So Alex Garland is going to write/direct it. And for those of you who don't know, he is a writer-director on a lot of amazing stuff, but he did Annihilation, Ex Machina, Civil War, all these awesome movies. So this is going to be an A24 studio movie, which they've never done something like this. They're almost like it was this indie studio that's become so important. And for us, even as we started this podcast, every time an A24 movie comes out, we are pumped about it. We're like, that is what I want to see. And it just, I think there is a quality level there that things like Disney doesn't have right now. There is somebody saying no when Disney and Marvel, Star Wars, people should be saying no. And not in a bad way. It's just like, nope, that script is not good enough yet. That cut is not good enough. Like, we need people saying no to some of this stuff. But Alex Garland has such a good track record. He loves the game. He's quoted saying that he's beaten the game multiple times, including the DLC. That passion, how rare is that? Like, it doesn't mean it's going to be what we want, but how many of these games, like, I hate the Halo TV show. Hate it, hate it, hate it. I love Halo, okay? But when you hear the creatives behind it being like, well, I don't really like the game, or I've never played it, but it's a cool like, what are you talking about? I don't know. And I don't want to just fan someone who likes the game, but like, I feel like that should be part of it. Like, to make a Halo movie or game, you should play through at least one of the games, hopefully all of them.
Yeah, well, like, properties that exist already should not be redone because the original author, creator, whoever it is, missed something, right? You don't take a Halo series on because you hate the source material and you think that it should be completely different, right?
Right.
You don't take on Elden Ring. You don't take on Lord of the Rings. You don't take on Game of Thrones and adapt them from the original media into something else because you think you can do it better or you think that you can change the story. So it's I'm curious how many times Alex Garland has done New Game Plus, because to beat the game a second time is drastically easier and it's just so much more fun. Like, you beat it once, you start from literally zero, and then when you hit New Game Plus, you begin like a fresh map with all of your stuff. And so you're just ripping through with like your whole set of like armor and weapons and like abilities, and you're just trashing everybody. So that second playthrough is just like, you're like a god. You are the Elden Lord, basically, ripping through the whole map. So I'm curious, like, if he has a number, like, oh yeah, I did new game +4, new game +5. Like, that's intense. That's still so much time. And
yeah.
Like, the more you new game plus, the more you are like buying into the story, because that's what you go back for, right? You've beaten all the bosses, you've gotten all the dialogue. When you New Game Plus multiple times, it's so that you can like uncover little tiny stones and find the little tiny details. So not only is the fact that he's beaten the game comforting, but the fact that he's done it multiple times is reassuring to me as someone who, like, I think this is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge gamer. I don't game a lot, so I'm very selective because it's very time consuming. Yeah, I'm excited. I think Alex Garland's going to be interesting. Have you read anything about who he's eyeing for the Tarnished, the main character?
Yes, we'll get there.
Okay, all right.
But I'd love to hear your thing on that, because I don't even know who the guy is. So
you're gonna love this.
So let's kind of dive into that, because this story is told through a story discoverer, not a main protagonist. So basically, you're an avatar. It's like you are this person playing the game, and you're discovering it as your character. So you're not playing a Nathan Drake. You're not playing, an Ellie from The Last of Us. R.I.P. the quality of that show. I just want to, let's just take a moment.
Pour some water out.
Let's pour that. We'll talk about Last of Us in a second too. But so with this it's kind of like a non-linear story. It's discovered. It's not, but there's so much lore stuff, which I think is awesome, because it gives it such a world. Like, whatever they want to do, if they want to follow, there's so many stories that they could pick apart in that world. I relate this most to Fallout, the TV show, because it's another one that's an Avatar-led open world, but they can just make their own story, which I think is cool, because it gives the creatives space to be like, we want to make this cool story in this world. Awesome, do that. Don't do that to the Master Chief, because he has a story and it's awesome. Okay, give us the Master Chief. Okay. John 117. Okay, every time I see the number 117, I get fired up, because I love Halo. That's his tag. Okay, it's a Spartan tag.
So you're saying John chapter 1 verse 17.
John 1:17. Look it up, kids.
Idiots.
I would love it if I could quote John 1:17. That'd be fun. I should memorize it just for that bit. Just for Halo. And also, if you're trying to hack my passwords, I'll tell you this: the numbers probably end in 117 or 343. Just saying. Okay, so what do you think about that? Like, that kind of open world, they can make any story they want, or focus on any of the characters we know already exists. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit more challenging than a Fallout, because the Fallout series is a completely new character in the universe, which, unique to Fallout, is totally fine. There are hundreds of vaults, right? So they could, for the series, they could just, we're going to tell a new story from a new vault, and everyone's like, yeah, every single game is from a new vault, right? So the fact that they aren't doing a Dark Souls game or something, or like an Elden Ring game that's adjacent to the Elden Ring story, but that it sounds like the movie will be the story of the Tarnished collecting the pieces of the Elden Ring to become the Elden Lord, means that it's the same. I know it's build your character, right? And you all make decisions differently. There are multiple ways to end the game, multiple avenues to get there, but it is the same like character. So I'm concerned, or I'm curious, how they'll show like the diversity of player experience and make sure everyone can relate to it, right? So like the Fallout character in that TV show, new character, we don't have to relate to her. Some of her experiences we relate to, right? But when you watch the Elden Ring movie, are you gonna like, is this character, is this actor gonna go through like 15 different weapons, and like, is he gonna like upgrade them? Is he gonna find like armor off of dead bodies and like put it on?
If we're not getting 20 minutes of them checking their stats and like redoing stuff and upgrading,
Yeah, like how do you can you do this without making it like a meme? I don't want it to be funny, right? But we do. We stand there for a half hour and we like cross check and reference compare this katana versus the other katana. And if I put this buff on it, then what does it do for my stats versus that buff with a hat, a different hat that I'm wearing? And then like now I'm too heavy. Like there are a lot of details that could bog the story down.
Especially slow rolling. Am I right, people?
See, that's the thing. Like, do I want to see him carry too many things in slow roll?
I want to see that. I want to see that.
But it would not be good for an
No.
A24 serious movie. So there's a lot of that stuff that they're going to have to shed off. This Elden Ring cannot be a Minecraft fan service movie. This has to be like a genuine, like serious, heartbreaking, war-torn, like devastating movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be a video game meme.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, with the studio, the director, that's what we're have to be getting. And I think we're in a good place now visually where they're going to do this movie justice and they're going to take it seriously, especially with the creatives behind it. And I think that's the coolest part to me. So we'll see how they do the character things, but it's cool because it's open-ended. It's not as open-ended as like a Fallout, you're right, because there is a Tarnished, there's an original Tarnished, there's all these, tragic bosses you have to fight and fallen heroes. Like there is set up things that they can't really avoid. And it doesn't quite make sense to be like completely out of the main story or what these people are doing. It's like, but the visuals on this game, it's a beautiful game. It's gothic, it's bright, it's dark, it's violent, it's grotesque. It is an intense visual experience. And I just get so pumped to see this in IMAX, just in all of its glory. That's going to be so amazing.
I think A24 being connected to it means that they could lean into more of the horror aspect and push away from the Dungeons and Dragons type movie. That's a comedy, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want that. I want basically a horror movie. And Alex Garland has done Ex Machina, which is like thriller. Wouldn't say it's a horror movie, but he's done really, really well with thriller movies. Like both of those, Civil War and Warfare, are like wartime thrillers, right? They're not going to be horror movies, but I'm wondering if he'll dip a little further into horror for this one.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think it's also going to those games. I love them, and at the same time, they are a bummer. Like it'll break you, it'll hurt.
Yeah,
and especially in like Bloodborne, or like some of the older Souls, it's just, man, it is a bummer. There is no Gandalf riding over the hill, to save, which is good because it's different, and that's a good thing. But I think for a movie wise, we're gonna need a triumph. We're gonna need a hero that is, something to aspire to. And I think we're ripe, I think, in the world in movies right now to be like, let's take a movie really seriously, like the epic fantasy. Mm-hmm. That can look visually amazing and get us something that's just like beautiful, but like has heart and like a soul, if you will. Yeah. Okay, so let's hear your casting rumor.
A1 and Cast a Soul Ring? Is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
Little Magic the Gathering reference for. What was your question?
Oh, casting. What did you have to say about casting? We'll kind of wrap up our Elden Ring discussion.
Almost confirmed, Alex Garland is heavily considering or talking to, trying to work out getting Kit Connor to be the Tarnished for his movie. So Alex Garland worked with him on Warfare. I think that was a Netflix movie, correct?
It was in theater.
It was in theaters? Great. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay.
Heard good things. Have not seen it, but heard really good things about that movie.
Okay. Yeah. He worked with him previously on Warfare. And we know Kit Connor, Heath.
How do we know him?
We know him from The Good Robot. I mean, sorry, the wild robot.
He was Bright Bill himself.
Connor was Bright Bill, dude. So we're going to get the voice of Bright Bill. If you don't know what we're talking about, we have a deep love for the wild robot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, watch that movie.
Go check our episode with the One-Eyed Podcast. One-Eyed Film Podcast.
The One-Eyed Podcast. Those are great guys. Yeah, we're going to get the voice of Bright Bill wandering through the lands between, killing like just a bunch of like 6-armed beasts that are trying to like steal his, like eat his flesh and rip him apart and stuff. So I think it's going to be great. But also Kit Connors seems to have the acting chops, but the physicality to do this role. Like he's a real fit dude. And I think he's young enough to make it really believable. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Dude, I'm so pumped about this movie. I'm really excited about it. To end, I'll just up for our video, guys. My brother-in-law Sam got this for me, and if you are seeing this, it's one of the things that we all thought was the first boss in the game, and probably the first time you died in the game. And it's just a dude. He's just a soldier walking by it.
One of the characters,
man. Yeah, so I also
regular health bar.
I also feel too like you just like the visuals, the creation of these characters just looks so awesome. It's just such a cool movie, or it's going to be such a cool movie because of the game. So it's 2027 release expected, but we just take that with a grain of salt. We'll see it. But yeah, dude, I am so excited for this movie. I think it's going to be incredible. So. Jumping back to our earlier thing about saying, when Marvel didn't say no, Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So the thing with this is Thunderbolts has been pulled from theaters. It basically petered out and didn't make any money. Like we brought that up too, that I went to go see it and it was 8:00 on a Saturday night. And it was like, my only thing is like, I'm from a smaller town. And there was other showings right before, right after it. So like maybe I just hit a weird time, but I was one of 6 in the theaters. Yeah. And I liked it a lot. I think it's a great movie, but no one went to go see it. And the bummer about good movies, when no one goes to see them, no one goes to see them, they're not making money and we're not getting a sequel, and probably other projects like that are gone away. I think the huge bummer about that is this was Marvel going a little edgier, a little darker. It's still a Marvel movie, but just like, let's cut out some of the Marvel Disney humor. Let's course correct a little bit. And then it flops. And now that tells them we should go back to being goofy. So I don't know.
I hope not. Okay. So for reference, Captain America Brave New World, let's see, earned $714 million worldwide. And I think as of recording, Thunderbolts is at like $350 million, that's just such a huge bummer. Like, yeah, $355 million globally, second lowest grossing film in Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've heard. Okay, so maybe I'm part of the problem here. I didn't go see it, but I've lost trust in Marvel.
Yeah.
And I think most people have. I'm shocked that A Brave New World grossed that much movie. Wow. I'm shocked that
if you gross that much movie,
when you gross much movie, much grossing happen.
When you gross much movie must most gross. And so if you most much movie most much movie.
Grossing. Anyway, I'm shocked that Captain America movie made
I'm shocked that I said that.
And I'm bummed that Thunderbolts seems to be suffering because of their poor decisions. And I, like you said, I don't think that the executives or the producers or the studio, whatever, Disney, will be able to recognize that realistically. I think they'll be like, well, the numbers don't lie, and Thunderbolts was not a hit, so they're no longer the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's a bummer because how could they not think that way? And I don't think that's the case at all. I think you're right. It is all about the previous thing. So yeah, it's one of the biggest flops, lost over 100 million at the box office. They estimate with this is crazy to me too, because the movie they're saying costs around 180 million, but then the total cost with advertising is 450 million.
Yeah.
People, we talk about this before, but everyone talks about how we need to make movies cheaper. We need to make advertisement cheaper. Like it's crazy because like if they had kept the budget, there, and I am also like, I don't know. It's hard because me and you are into this, and people listening to this podcast right now, you're probably also into movies that you don't need all this advertisement, but it's to get the masses. There's so many people being like, oh, there's another Captain America movie. They don't have it on the calendar,
Write that down.
write that down. God.
It's crazy to me.
Every time a release date comes up, I physically run up to my calendar and
That's just, it's wild to me that they could spend 180 million to make a great movie, one of the best Marvel movies, experiential, story-wise, like, right? And then they spend 270 million dollars on advertising alone.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe that's why you didn't make any freaking money, because you paid for a Super Bowl ad or something, like.
Yeah, I think they did, wasn't that in the Super Bowl? If I remember correctly.
I think Captain America was in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. That's another thing too, is just like, I hope too that people are focusing more on viral, or guerrilla marketing, because if they had just like, sometimes I feel like if you just released a really awesome reel of like Bucky on that motorcycle blowing stuff up, like, wouldn't that have been like, oh yeah, I want to go see that, advertising I think has become so interesting. But anyways, we're not talking about advertising, we're talking about the movie. So it's a bummer when a movie does that, because I think that's the one we wanted, and I think the quality has really come up. But this, in my belief, is that it's because of the garbage that Marvel has been peddling, the stuff they've been allowing through. And I think it's nothing against completely on the writers, directors, or actors, producers. I think it's all of them. It's like, why aren't we saying, you know what? Let's rewrite that one more time. Let's re-edit that one more time. I just think there is no concern about producing good quality. Like, the people who are okaying this are the ones that are like, you're nuts. How is that a good movie? How is that a good show? And I think they've done so many shows that have just been like okay at best. And this is the result. This is the cost, is
low interest.
Yeah. And even Captain America 4, Captain Falcon, was better, I think, than a lot of recent Marvel projects, but it still wasn't enough. And it's like, I don't know. I think I talk about it too, because like there's too thin. They're not giving us enough story in all of this. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier, the TV show, the 6 or 8 episode, whatever it was, and Captain America Brave New World, there is one amazing story in all of that. They could have made it a slick 2.5 hour movie with all of that story, I think, and that would have been a great story. Like, they don't have that in there. There's not enough to tell, which I think is just a big bummer. And so it's just like, we're paying for it now, and I think Thunderbolts is paying for it, which is a bummer because it's such a good cast, such a fun movie, and I'm curious what this is going to do to Avengers Doomsday.
Man, it feels like the fans just suffer because we haven't been given good things to consume. We haven't been given good movies and shows to watch. And because we haven't been given good stuff, we lose interest. And then we may continue to receive bad stuff because there's low interest, right? Just feels like a bad cycle of like somebody is ordering. Feels like a fast food restaurant. Like, you don't go to Ruth's Chris and be like, hey, give me French fries and like a quarter pounder with cheese and in like 5 minutes. I gotta go, right? You take your time, You go through the whole experience, and you get a good quality product. And I think Disney, we always say Disney is just bad or Disney really messed up. I think that whoever is guiding the MCU in a large sense is not listening to the writers, producers, actors, directors when they say we need some more time to make this good, or we do need to rewrite that because a deadline is deadline and you don't get it. This is show business, you know? So I think that we could talk about writers, and we could talk about like directors saying, you know what, that's great. Let's roll with that. And then we'll release this. And it turns out to be garbage.
My daughter is at my mother-in-law's house. She just called me. So, uh-oh. Hi, Lucy.
Very, very good. She just really wanted to call Daddy.
Oh.
Mama didn't answer, so we're almost asleep, but she wanted to say goodnight.
Oh, good night, Lulu.
Good night.
Did you have fun with Grammy?
Yeah, I did.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
With the trailer, and and I saw the crazy ride.
Whoa, that sounds crazy.
It's time for night-night, okay? Tell Daddy night-night.
Night.
I love you.
Night too.
Love you, Lucy. Hey, Lucy,
Yeah.
can you say, listen to the podcast?
Listen to the podcast.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
All right, night, buddy. Sorry, you were
I'll finish that.
Thunderbolts. Okay.
So I do think that it is a higher up problem. I'm almost positive that the VFX artists, the writers, the producers, the directors, the actors would love to take some more time in a general sense and make it a much better product. But it seems like whoever's in charge of that, like MCU as a whole, like driving the big ship, is saying, well, deadline is a deadline. This is show business. You have to just do it. I don't care what you have to do, just do it. And that ends up being a poor product. So
Yeah. I do wonder, I think I'm excited for the Kevin Feige documentary to come out years after he's left Disney and Marvel, and just like I'm interested to hear, like, at this time or the past, like, is that why he's bald? Is because he was pulling his hair out trying to stem this stuff? I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's Kevin Feige being like, oh, that's a great movie. Oh, it's not that good movie. I think sometimes producers are just the worst at telling what a good movie is. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, all those executives were like, The Last Jedi is incredible. We love this movie. The fans are going to love this movie. Literally, give this man a trilogy. Like, they announced a Rian Johnson trilogy before The Last Jedi came out. And the fan reaction, I'm not even going to get into the quality, but the fan reaction was not there. And they were like, ugh. And they're not willing to admit there's no Rian Johnson trilogy. They still say it's in the works. And I'm like, no way. It's not happening. But it's a bummer when movies will do this, because we saw this in Star Wars with Solo. The numbers just weren't there. And that resulted in, like, The Last Jedi hit, still made a lot of money, but the negativity from that movie, 6 months later, we got Solo, and the reaction, I think the compound of those was like, people are pissed. People are not going to go see Solo. They just hated The Last Jedi. They're not ready to go see another Star Wars movie in 6 months. And then all of a sudden, we get a cancellation of the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. And it's just like, no, that's what we wanted. And then now we don't have that. And then they stretch that Obi-Wan movie into, again, a TV show that's not that good. And we've talked about this recently. The what's the cut? The Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show that was cut down into like a 2-hour movie.
Oh yeah, I forget his name.
No.
He's like a Redditor that edited the whole Kenobi show into a movie length, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, it's such a good watch.
Yeah, I'll try to link it in the description because it's really cool. You can just like look up the guy's link. Like, it's a legal way, because it's if you own or if you subscribe to Disney Plus, you have access to these anyways. So this is him like saying like this is an edit of all this like 6-7 hour material into like a more movie, and it's good. It's not that the story isn't there; it's the story is not long. All the Star Wars stuff, all this Marvel stuff, the story is not there for all these episodes. I think the story was there. I think that could have even been a little cleaner. I think that's my one critique of Andor is I agree with you. I think it was a little meandering at times, and I think they could have made it cleaner and a little,
I'm the
shorter
opposite
cut.
of you.
Oh, I thought you were saying because it was kind of more meandering compared to the first season.
No. The first season was meandery. Like it takes a long time to get through the story, and I loved that. Season 2 was like boom, 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 highlight reel. It was too fast.
You wish they had taken more time.
I wish, 4 more seasons, please. But that's just me being selfish.
Yeah. Well, and that's cool too, because then it also is another sign that there's enough story there. It's like, oh, I wanted it to be more fleshed out, But I don't know. It's an interesting time, and it's a bummer when it's just like we're probably never going to get a Thunderbolts sequel. And I have a feeling. Here's my feeling. I think Avengers Doomsday is not going to do. I think it's going to do well financially, but not as good as they want it to. And I think it's not going to be a great movie. And I think this is the end for Marvel.
Yeah, you think Doomsday will be
for a year, and then they'll come back. No, I just don't think Doomsday is going to be that good. I just don't think it's not been led up to as like people like Infinity War, Endgame. It's like they prepared the story for those. It could have been a lackluster movie, and it still would have been satisfying because they've all these characters that we know and love. And I don't know. I would argue too sometimes with like movies like Endgame or Infinity War. They're good, but is it just that good because of all the things around it? If we had just had an Infinity War movie and nothing else, I think it would have lessened the movie. Nothing saying that's a bad thing. It's kind of like saying, well, yeah, the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers makes the Return of the King a better movie. But I think if it has to rely on those previous installments completely, but that's why it's a trilogy, I guess.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing that you said. That Infinity War and Endgame had a bunch of stuff leading up to it, and so there was hype on hype on hype. Right? Everyone and their mother was hyped.
I know your mom was hyped. My mom was hyped.
Julie was hyped out of her mind.
I literally went to see Infinity War with my mom.
I thought you were going to say with my mom.
With your mom, dude.
Yeah,
she's a nice lady. I was like, Mama McKay, can we please get salt and butter in the popcorn? And she's like,
she said
no. And she held my hand and she said, bless your heart, but no. I was like, well, okay. I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say that we assume somehow they can make Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Ironheart, Fantastic Four, Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, and some sort of Spider-Man movie all feed into
Secret Wars.
Doomsday making sense. No, just Doomsday making sense.
But we're getting Doomsday first, right?
Doomsday
is next December. December 2026.
Yeah, all of these projects I listed are supposed to be before that, before Doomsday.
Dang.
Yeah. So there's
so much Marvel. Way too much.
There is.
We didn't have any like last year.
7. They have like 7 or 8 movies like scheduled for release, assuming they don't push them back. And that's a low number. Like it could be higher. So, but like Doomsday feels like a new beginning. It doesn't feel like something they built up to.
No.
Right? So then what does that do for phase 4 and 5? If I get those phases correctly, everything after Endgame has been leading to nothing. And now we don't care about that saga, those 2 phases. Now Doomsday has to start something new and go somewhere after that. It just feels stupid.
Yeah.
What were we doing?
I don't know. And they had to pivot because of some allegations on the character, the guy.
Yeah.
That played Kang the Conqueror. So
Jonathan Majors, yeah.
yeah, which they had to pivot, but then now it seems like, I mean, that's the rule, right? In cancellations, you have to do something bigger. So they had Robert Downey Jr., but it's all member berries, right? It's all nostalgia. It's, do you want Robert Downey Jr. back in an Avengers movie? I don't know. I think it's all hype and there's no substance there. And the Russo brothers, I think, have given us a lot of quality. I think there's definitely been some missteps, but not enough to be like, I don't know. It's something like Alex Garland. You look at all of his work and it's like just banger after banger after banger. But then when you look at someone like the Russo brothers, it seems like the last movie they did, The Electric State, they had full control, writer, director, and it just was like meh, you know? And so to me, it is concerning that they are stumbling. It feels like we're stumbling into the next Avengers movie because they had to show us a video of all the people going to be in this movie to get us psyched up. And these are all characters that we know. They didn't care about Thunderbolts at all. That's another thing, is because they were like, the Thunderbolts will be in the next movie. It's like, okay, thank you for spoiling that, you know, that these characters won't die. It was just so weird to me. And
yes, I think you're right. I think it's over.
yeah,
We're seeing the last like death flinches of a massive movie saga that didn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
Which sucks. That's bad.
And I think we're always going to get superhero movies. It's kind of like Westerns. There's going to ebb and flow. And I think we're going to see resurgences, but I think we're going to see a huge wind down, especially with all this content. There's too much content in the Marvel universe. I think people are tired. I think the Minecraft movie shows people that people still want to go see the movies. They still want to have fun, but it's just not the movies that we're getting, you know?
Totally.
And I think Dune Messiah has a chance on financially beating Avengers Doomsday. I don't think it's going to happen. I still think Doomsday is going to come out on top because it's Avengers and it's Robert Downey Jr., but I think Dune Messiah. Okay, I'll have this question for you as well, but if they are coming out on the same day, which that's the report right now, is that December 2026, Doomsday, the Avengers Doomsday, and Dune Messiah are coming out the exact same day. If that's the case, I will be going to see Dune Messiah first because it's a more serious movie. And then I'm going to wrap up with Avengers Doomsday because a little lighthearted characters that are fun. So if I'm going to try to see them both the same day, we definitely have to do a pod together.
Oh, that would be
like, if that's what it's going to do, what would you do?
So honestly, realistically, I would have to choose one of them for the same day. Unless I like took a day off or like I was like, see ya. And I would see Dune Messiah over Doomsday. Not just on that same day. I would say that if I could pick a movie for the month, I would see Dune Messiah. And I wouldn't even bat an eye at not seeing Doomsday.
Harsh. Yeah.
But if I had the time and I was like, yeah, why not? Then sure, I'll throw Doomsday in there, but I'll see it second. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm concerned about Doomsday, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. All right. One more thing that we're kind of concerning for some people and not for others is the cancellation of Wheel of Time, R.I.P., the TV show, which was so funny because I was the one just touting this show. It's like, if you're a book fan, it's not a good adaptation, but it's a good show. I like it. It's fun. Episode 3, the visuals in season 3 alone are something to behold. And I'd still suggest the show. If someone's like, I've never tried Wheel of Time, I think watching the TV show is kind of a fun way to dip your toe into that world. And then you can say, oh, I do like this. Let me start the book series. I think straight book is still better, but yeah, they canceled it. So not enough people were going to see it. Or, you know, not enough people were streaming it.
Sitting down to watch it.
Yeah. Which is crazy. It's like there's such a low like effort. But I think it does add hope to, I hope the next time this is remade into a show, it's a more faithful adaptation. I hope it's more faithful to the books and the characters in the books. And I don't know, some of these shows, that's a better way to tell a book adaptation, but I would still like to have Andrew muted his mic so he could say no to his dog. That was funny.
This is true. I'm sorry.
Jarvis just wants to be on the pod. That's cool. But I think there's a chance that this will be, obviously this is going to be made into something again. It's such a popular book series, but maybe not for a long time. And as a lover of movies, I do hope that it's a movie. That's where I always kind of sway. But so yeah, I know Andrew didn't even get a chance to watch it, but
No,
Wheel of Time, R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Wheel of Time.
All right, let's end with something fun, because that was a little bit of a not a bummer, but some negatives there that we came out.
Yeah. A negative 20 minutes there.
So there's a movie coming out very soon.
Called Dangerous
So
Animals.
this Friday, this movie's coming out. Andrew, give us a classic Andrew McKay synopsis. This is a movie that we're both excited for. Oh, I was giving you time. Are you ready for a synopsis?
Oh, dude, yeah, okay. So Dangerous Animals is about a shark-obsessed serial killer and a rebellious surfer who's captive on his boat, and a race against time as she fights to figure out a way to escape before he carries out his ritualistic feeding of the sharks. This is like right up our alley, Heath.
Yeah.
This is shark horror.
This is it makes me, it's so funny because it seems so sadistic. This is making me so happy because it's like a killer movie. But I love intense thrillers. I have to escape this thrillers, and I love shark movies. And this is all of that. And I am just so pumped about this movie. Yeah, it looks
So
great.
it has Jay Courtney in it.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen anything. He was Boomerang Man in
Yeah.
in the, I think he was in
Suicide
the
Squad.
Punisher, or not the Punisher. Yeah, the Suicide Squad. I don't think he was in the Peacemaker TV show, but he was in the Suicide Squad, and he always has given me like Tom Hardy vibes. Like he could be Tom Hardy's cousin. So I'm excited to see him in this kind of like disheveled, psychotic killer role.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna do really well.
Yeah, he's also been in like Divergent, and he's Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis. And he's like a physically imposing person, which I always think is like, yeah, for someone who's like in this type of movie, the aggressor, it's like, he'll scare you, you know. Also, one of the main stars is I should have read her name beforehand. Hazy Harrison. Is that how you say that? Never heard the name Hazy before. Hassie. She's from Yellowstone. She's one of the.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a blast. Like, it's such a great lead up into Shark Week.
Yeah.
In a few weeks.
You know we're gonna be celebrating hard. Make yourself a shark bite cocktail. You can also get those at Outback Steakhouse. They have a version there. And go watch Dangerous Animals. Sounds amazing.
So good. Love that. All right. Should I take us home, Heath?
Andrew, yes. Oh, but first, no episode next week. Go check out a podcast that we recorded with One-Eyed Film Podcast. We just do like a little round table of some fun stuff. So that's why there's no episode next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more feature presentation. And yes, Andrew, take us home.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, you can find our podcast wherever you get podcasts. Head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Spotify. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We love comments and interacting with any of the suggestions or comments on our ramblings that you might have. Engagement not only helps us grow the show, but it makes it a lot more fun. So, as always, go see a movie.
Go see a movie. And just to be clear, Dangerous Animals is that one that goes da 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 da. No.
What?
What are you talking about? That's a song reference. Maybe someone will get it.